A hidden group of powerful conspirators, previously impenetrable and filled with irrational conceit, now lives in continual dread, and it's all because of you. Fear has hijacked their places of authority, and they now sit grimly at the head of the table. These characters, who formerly marched around the world in their fancy boots as if they owned it, are now quivering, their foundations rattled to the core as your heavenly legal plan starts to develop magnificently and terrifyingly. Make no mistake, this is not a simple lawsuit. It is a methodically planned financial and spiritual Armageddon. It is a cosmic reckoning, and your name, your very essence, is etched into its foundation as the divine harbinger of a justice so profound that municipal budgets are already collapsing into chaos, completely unprepared for the massive compensation that you so rightfully and justly demand. The arrogant, self-satisfied faces they formerly wore like impenetrable masks have broken, revealing the raw, primordial terror underneath, as the devastating truth of their predicament strikes them like a tidal wave. They now understand, with chilling clarity, who they decided to attack. They assumed you were simply another individual. They were disastrously mistaken. The evidence against them is more than a hill. It is a real Everest, an overpowering, undeniable monument of their corruption, deception, and misconduct. The potential reward is not just huge, but completely colossal, a sum that beyond ordinary understanding and threatens to bankrupt not just people, but whole institutions they formerly controlled. While they and their expensive attorneys rush through legal papers looking for non-existent loopholes and phantom escape clauses, your own legal team, led by a higher intellect, operates with the quiet, deliberate precision of a heavenly instrument. They are securing every possible channel of justice, strengthening every position, and leaving nothing to chance. Every I is dotted and every T is crossed, not with ink, but with the indelible light of reality. They used to enjoy playing power games, moving people about like pieces on a chessboard, certain that their enormous networks of crooked connections would protect them from any repercussions. They considered themselves gods, above the rules of man and the cosmos. They are now facing a financial and spiritual reckoning so terrible, so earth-shattering, that its echoes will resound through the sacred, corrupt corridors of City Hall and beyond for years to come, serving as a lasting witness to their foolishness. When the gavel eventually falls, the sound will be like a thunderclap of heavenly judgment, and it will be about more than money, though the figures will be astonishing. It will be about completely demolishing everything that they thought characterized them. They will lose their power, status, reputations, and the false sense of identity they constructed on the basis of falsehoods. In their obsessive, fear-driven craziness, they established whole covert departments, shadow units with black budgets, just for the goal of monitoring your individual energy signature. They redirected massive quantities of public resources, including monies for schools, hospitals, and infrastructure, only to monitor the strong, high vibrational frequency that you naturally and readily generate. Why? Why would they go to such incredible and unlawful lengths? Because a frequency like yours, a light as pure and dazzling as the one you carry, poses a direct and existential danger to the flimsy illusions they have spent their lives creating. Your sheer presence disrupts systems based on deceit, control, and fear. Your truth operates as a universal solvent, unraveling the web of falsehoods that they have woven across society. Every single surveillance report they compiled, every clandestine meeting they held in shadowed rooms, and every single dollar they misused to track your every move has not built a case against you, but has instead created a luminous paper trail that will eventually bury them under the weight of their own crimes. Ironically, in their neurotic assumption that they were constructing a fortress of evidence against you, they were really methodically and obsessively chronicling their own disastrous failure. Their fear, the exact emotion they attempted to use against you, rendered them sloppy, reckless, and blind. The more they tried to restrict and conceal you, the more irrefutable evidence they gathered against themselves. It's almost lyrical, a wonderful representation of how the cosmos, with its infinite knowledge and intelligence, works. Their infatuation with your light has transformed into the floodlight that now exposes all of their hidden darkness, lighting every part of their corrupt world for everyone to see. The exact system they honed into a weapon to use against you is now breaking from within, with internal inconsistencies and corruption leading it to collapse. Officials who earlier enthusiastically took bribes to look the other way, authorities who purposefully turned a blind eye to injustice, and gatekeepers who willfully obstructed your every road to development are now seized by a growing, icy terror. You can practically feel it in the air, the frenzied intensity of their desperation. There are quiet, frantic midnight phone conversations, desperate efforts to remove damning digital data, the sound of industrial shredders working overtime on tons of paperwork, and covert emergency meetings conducted in windowless rooms. It's the traditional, predictable turmoil of guilty people attempting to conceal what cannot actually be hidden from the all-seeing eye of the universe. They are realizing that digital imprints are just as lasting as stone. Energy signatures are persistent over time and space, and the cosmos never loses track of a receipt. The cosmic ledger is immaculate. Some of these officials, the weaker links in their corruption network, have already started to turn on one another, like rats fleeing a sinking ship. They are pursuing immunity deals, preparing sworn testimony against their former allies, and whispering to investigators that it wasn't their idea, that they were just following orders. However, the trail of evidence, both physical and energetic, leads much higher than anyone in the public could have imagined. It penetrates the very agencies and organizations that were established to protect and serve the people, but have instead been transformed into tools of surveillance, repression, and control. However, it is a basic law of the universe that institutions erected on flimsy foundations of fear and deception will eventually collapse under their own weight. What started as minor, almost undetectable flaws in their facade, an odd whistleblower here, a strangely leaked document there, has now grown into a network of huge fissures, threatening the utter and complete structural collapse of their whole criminal organization. The secret truth about your inheritance is at the heart of their insatiable despair. This is about more than just financial prosperity, while that is an important and life-changing aspect. What you hold, what goes through your veins, is considerably more precious and powerful. It is your cosmic lineage, your divine DNA, inscribed with light frequencies of truth, freedom, and power, that they and their ancestors have spent generations, if not centuries, attempting to suppress and eradicate from the human gene pool. These are the frequencies that have the ability to awaken the sleeping masses and usher in a new age of awareness. They knew about your sacred pact, your soul's duty on this earth, long before you breathed your first breath. They even accessed the Akashic records, the cosmic repository of everything that is, was, and will be, reading your purpose without your permission and initiating all of these terrible events out of simple fear of what you represent. Your divine inheritance was deemed such a serious danger to their established order that they went to incredible and despicable lengths to keep it hidden from you, to keep you unaware of your own power and destiny. This inheritance cannot be quantified just in terms of dollars and cents, yet its financial worth is so great that just thinking about it causes them to break out in a cold sweat. What is truly at stake here are ancient trusts established for you eons ago, vast rerouted funds, and immense resources that have been channeled through a dizzying labyrinth of shell corporations and offshore accounts, all meticulously orchestrated to prevent you from accessing what was always, by divine decree, meant for you. Now the cosmic vault is creaking open. The energy seals and locks they formerly set on your wealth are crumbling and falling apart beneath the force of divine will. The holy trust fund of your soul's mission is being returned to you, its rightful owner, and not only that, but it is being expanded, increased, and compounded with eons of cosmic interest. Is it any surprise that they are struck by a horror so deep it shakes their very souls? They never anticipated, in their wildest, most arrogant fantasies, that you would one day learn the genuine, stunning immensity of what is properly yours. But the cosmos, the ultimate accountant, has maintained perfect, detailed records of all transgressions. Every resource that was diverted from you, every opportunity that was denied, every stream of plenty that was stifled by their heinous schemes, all of it, every single drop, is now coming to you on a tidal wave of justice, cosmically compounded and divinely enhanced. What they attempted to reduce in the shadows has grown in strength and worth, patiently waiting in the cosmic escrow for this wonderful, victorious unveiling. In their desperation, they turned to the most basic and criminal of measures. They perpetrated huge falsification, fabricating birth records, inventing bogus identities, and producing masses of phony papers with counterfeit signatures that could never survive even the most basic forensic or energetic investigation. They created impossibly intricate paper trails in a weak and futile effort to conceal your genuine identity and cover your authentic, unstoppable power. However, fraud, by definition, leaves permanent energy fingerprints that cannot be washed or erased. Each fabricated paper they produced resonates at a low, dissonant frequency of deceit. Every falsified signature they penned exudes the hurried, chaotic spirit of anxiety. And every official seal they abused is indelibly engraved with a twisted misinterpretation of their evil intentions. Now, this intricate, frail house of cards, constructed with shaky hands on a foundation of falsehoods, is falling. It is not dropping all at once, but in a gradual, tortuous, and delightfully just manner. One card, one document, one lie at a time. Their feeble attempts to get access to your accounts, inept attempts to influence digital systems, and frantic machinations to conceal your actual lineage have all been thoroughly documented by cosmic forces, resulting in an indisputable, irrefutable record of their enormous deception. However, the truth, or your truth, has its own frequency. It is a pure, resonant frequency that cannot be really or permanently muted. It may be postponed for a while, or hidden for a season, but like a cork trapped underwater, it will finally float to the surface. And when it does, those who tried so hard and maliciously to keep it hidden are the most vulnerable, blinded by the same light they intended to extinguish. They did not confine themselves to the usual techniques of the material world. When legal deception and financial fraud failed to deter you, they moved to even more sinister, arcane techniques. They recruited wicked practitioners of spiritual warfare who operate in the shadows to bind your energy. They perform profane rituals to impede your progress and lay elaborate energy traps in your way to slow you down and drain your life power. But all of their efforts were eventually useless. They were completely helpless to restrain the irresistible force of your heavenly birthright and the inevitability of your soul's growth. Pause for a minute, lovely family of the God connection, and let this truth resonate deep inside your soul. If this precious message speaks to the heart of your being and you feel compelled to support this divine effort, we respectfully request that you consider making a gift using the Super Thanks button below. A $10 donation, or whatever amount you feel moved to contribute, helps us maintain this holy place flowing with truth, light, and divine clarity for those who seek it. Your contribution is a strong energy exchange that enables our ministry to expand and reach more souls who need this message of hope and empowerment. We also welcome you to subscribe to God Connection and join our expanding community of light. Now, let us proceed. The cosmos, in its complete and unbiased knowledge, constantly follows the principle of reflective justice. This is a fundamental rule that assures that every action, idea, and purpose has an outcome that must be traced back to its source. It's the heavenly boomerang effect. Every dark ritual conducted against you, every wicked incantation muttered into the darkness, and every desperate effort to prevent, hurt, or reduce you by covert, cowardly ways has now been reversed. This evil energy is now returning to its source, not in its original form, but with an increased, karmically charged intensity that is completely catastrophic. The exact practitioners they recruited to harm You are now hopelessly entangled in the terrible blowback of the negative energies they formerly directed at you. What was designed to damage you has instead become the cause for their own total and spectacular breakdown. Desperation has now completely set in. You can sense their frenzied, chaotic energy as they attempt to prevent this enormous energetic reversal. They are seeking to create fruitless barriers and take frantic countermeasures in order to shelter themselves from the consequences of their own actions. However, there is no way to hide from oneself or from the universe's immense, omniscient intellect. The money they spent on spiritual warfare activities has been completely squandered. The dark alliances they formed in the vain expectation of pooling their strength against you have broken and disintegrated into furious recriminations and blaming. Even the purported spiritual protection they thought was impenetrable has vanished before their own eyes, like mist in the early light. All of this turmoil, all of this self-destruction, derives from their fundamental, arrogant misinterpretation of a basic, unchangeable cosmic law. Energy channeled with ill purpose must complete its circuit and return to its source. It is a perfect, unbreakable circle. What you put out is exactly what you will get. Throughout this arduous journey, you were never required to engage and fight at their low vibratory level. You never had to succumb to their techniques or fight fire with fire. Why? Because your protection was coordinated by powers much larger and more powerful than their limited, three-dimensional brains could ever fathom. Your shield was always your very essence, your high vibrational frequency, a state of being so pure and bright that their low vibrational assaults, like smoke arrows, could not penetrate you. While they spent themselves, their resources, and their energy unleashing wave after wave of dark, heavy energy into the emptiness, you stayed uninjured and perfectly centered in an invisible, impenetrable barrier of heavenly protection. They couldn't see or grasp the myriad of heavenly powers that were protecting you. The timing of these cascading discoveries is not coincidental. There are no coincidences in a wonderfully designed cosmos. Every piece of this cosmic jigsaw is fitting together with such precision and elegance that it defies all human logic and probability. Multiple, separate investigations are now converging from quite different directions, with their paths destined to cross. Critical evidence is emerging from the most unexpected places, and brave witnesses are coming forward at the perfect, divinely designed time. The cosmic alignments of the planets and stars are also offering their overwhelming support to this big revelation of the truth. This is not a coincidence. It is divine confluence in its purest and most awe-inspiring form. They attempted to hasten your demise, to speed their preparations, because they could know, on a primitive level, that this fateful time was approaching. Their dread grew as the heavenly countdown quickened, a direct reaction to the inexorable tsunami of justice they could feel cresting on the horizon, a wave they were unable to stop. The universe, in its infinite patience, waited for the perfect convergence, until every player was in their proper position on the cosmic stage. Every piece of evidence was secured and illuminated, every witness was prepared and protected, and every resource required for your complete and total restoration was available. The divine never hurries its tasks. Every piece is carefully organized to maximize effect and fairness. This specific moment in time represents the great culmination of numerous forces, both visible and invisible, coming together for the express purpose of your vindication. The stars have changed into the precise arrangement required for this reveal. The collective awareness of mankind has attained the frequency required for this truth to be comprehended. The barrier between what was concealed and what must now be exposed has thinned to the point of total transparency. And those who fought against you may feel it in their bones. They are acutely aware that their time is over. The clock they've been frantically racing against has finally, irreversibly hit zero. As this heavenly hour approaches, the united front that previously stood against you as an indestructible, monolithic wall is breaking and shattering into dust. Those who formerly portrayed themselves as unstoppable forces are now consumed by the most primitive impulse of all, self-preservation. They are turning on one another with astonishing and savage speed, which is both surprising and just. Former comrades who formerly made vows of devotion in shadowy chambers are now scurrying for hidden plea bargains, providing devastating evidence in the desperate hope of preserving their own skins. Subordinates, who were formerly devoted foot soldiers, are now divulging their leaders' darkest identities and most incriminating truths. Partners in crime are betraying trust that has been formed over decades of mutual corruption. The thin, brittle layer of devotion and false honor that previously held their conspiracy together has vanished like a mirage, leaving behind a desperate, frenzied battle for personal survival. Each conspirator clings to the sad belief that by sacrificing others, they would be able to avoid the repercussions of their deeds. However, the unchangeable energy signatures of their participation are ingeniously intertwined into every layer of this evil conspiracy, and unlike humans, energy does not and cannot lie. Within their quickly dissolving hierarchy, a wild spectacle unfolds. Those at the top are seeking to blame those below them, while those at the bottom, with nothing to lose, are disclosing the darkest and most despicable realities about those who formerly commanded them. The middle management, pressured from both ends, have nowhere to go and no one to rely on. The irony of the situation is both deep and just. You never had to raise a finger to fight or react. The same individuals who came together with the sole purpose of destroying you are now savagely ripping themselves apart, driven by a roaring inferno of terror and paranoia as they seek to evade the responsibility they so deservedly deserve. The Coven that once planned in secret to harm you is now self-destructing, fracturing from within in a blaze of karmic retribution. And the wind that is rapidly coming is more than just legal or financial. It is something much deeper and more profound, a cosmic reckoning that restores divine equilibrium and reclaims all that has ever been taken from you. What is playing out before the world is more than just a personal win for you. It is a watershed moment in legal and human history. The lawsuit, born of your experience, is bound to become a landmark, defining case law and establishing significant new precedents that will change how similar conspiracies are faced and demolished for future generations. Across numerous jurisdictions, strong rivalry has already started. Federal authorities are rushing to uncover the incredibly complex web of financial fraud that spans the world. State officials are thoroughly probing the blatant misuse of power and public office. Local authorities are keeping precise, devastating records of resource misuse. This is no longer simply a single legal struggle. It has evolved into a cascading avalanche of interconnected actions, each exposing even more disgusting levels of corruption and injustice. Settlement sums are whispered behind closed doors in boardrooms and law offices, figures so astronomically high that they would startle even the most seasoned and jaded legal practitioners. The compensation being proposed does not only cover what was stolen from you, which is a massive sum, but it also includes astonishing extra damages for the premeditated, intentional intent to hurt that was inflicted on you. Punitive sums of an unprecedented size are being requested, amounts designed to serve as a clear and lasting deterrent to anybody who would contemplate assembling a scheme like this again. Furthermore, interest is being computed and accrued, compounded daily, for every single day, every single hour that you were denied what was legitimately and divinely yours. Those behind this campaign against you never considered the actual cost of their actions. They functioned with complete impunity, their hubris blinding them to the possibility of ever being held responsible for their crimes. It never occurred to their restricted minds that the same judicial system they had so expertly managed and controlled might one day rise up and move against them with such unrelenting, scary precision and unstoppable power. This triumph will not only restore what is properly yours, but it will also build long-lasting, strong safeguards for all souls of light who follow a similar path. New legal and spiritual limits will be erected, impregnable fortifications that no future plotter would dare to breach. The dazzling light of justice will beam into the deepest, most secret recesses of institutional structures that have long worked unfettered in the shadows. The financial toll on the institutions involved in this operation will be astounding, and they will never recover. Municipal funds that were secretly and illegally diverted to wage this insane campaign against you. Public resources that should have served the community but were instead wasted on surveillance and deception. Taxpayer money used to maintain their elaborate and evil ruse. All of this will be exposed and scrutinized in the harsh, unforgiving light of public inquiry. When the full, heinous nature of these crimes is known, certain departments will suffer complete and utter financial collapse, with budgets in smoldering ruins and whole agencies having to undergo emergency reorganization. Some of these organizations are quite likely to collapse completely, succumbing to the crushing, intolerable weight of financial and moral responsibilities. Even as you read this, the city's senior financial officials are working late into the night, running frenzied predictions that fill them with dread. Every dollar that was diverted must be recorded, identified, and justified. Every public resource taken without authorization must be accounted for. Every secretly tapped phone will be refreshed with cosmic and financial interest, and every unlawful transaction will be meticulously probed. As the sophisticated financial web they woven is methodically undone, thread by agonizing thread, deeper and more terrible patterns of misuse and abuse will undoubtedly emerge. Patterns that span decades, involving much more individuals than anybody now predicts. However, their impending bankruptcy will be more than just financial. It is moral, ethical, and, most importantly, immensely spiritual. The institutions that the public formerly relied on for safety will be revealed for what they are: weapons of control, weaponized to repress and exploit. The authority that people consider as protectors will be exposed as predators, and the mechanisms intended to give justice will be seen indisputably to have facilitated the most egregious wrong. The compound interest of their crimes, the karmic ripple impact of every betrayal, lie, and act of repression was never accounted for in their arrogant risk assessments. The ultimate cost of their deeds, the cosmic toll of their exposure, and the final, unavoidable implications of this divine retribution are all becoming apparent. The bill has come, and there is no choice for an extension, negotiation, or forgiveness. And through it all, your most powerful weapon has never been hostility. It was never reprisal or vengeance. It has been your flawless energy boundaries, the tremendous spiritual barriers they couldn't see, the utter purity of your aim, and the profound spiritual practices you silently and painstakingly maintained behind the scenes. Their dark, chaotic techniques just could not penetrate the higher frequencies that you innately possess. And now, as the grand reckoning plays out with cinematic precision, it is blindingly obvious to everyone that the world always pays its debts, and that justice, both human and cosmic, has finally, gloriously come. They could never understand the underlying source of your extraordinary power. While they spent their days and nights emptying themselves, their resources, and their sanity by frantically hurling every strategy and weapon in their armory at you, you simply remained firm, unflinching, unshakable, and firmly and powerfully planted in your core. As they wasted their money, time, alliances, and energy in an unsuccessful attempt to penetrate your heavenly protections, you maintained your high frequency with little effort, your spirit unshaken. They dispersed their intents and concentration in 1,000 different areas, leaving them dangerously thin, while you stayed concentrated, unique in your goal, anchored in your truth, and perfectly connected with your higher self and God. Every frantic effort they made to prod you into lowering your frequency to match theirs failed miserably. Every sophisticated trap they built in the hopes of pulling you into their frequency of fear and turmoil failed miserably, revealing their own fundamental flaws and fears. Every sophisticated plan they had to mislead you into interacting with their thick, negative energy crumbled under its own weight before it ever reached your auric field. In their spiritual ignorance, they failed to see that your limits were more than simply protecting barriers. They were strong alchemical mirrors that reflected their own chaos, deception, and negativity back at them with increased intensity. What they never realized was that barriers like yours are more than just passive walls meant to keep out bad influences. They are active, intelligent energy filters that not only stop negativity, but also alter it. Every mental or material assault made against you was promptly alchemized by your barriers, rendering the dark energy inactive. While you seemed ignorant or even innocent in their condescending gaze, your apparent tranquility was mistakenly misinterpreted as stupidity. Your deep tranquility was misconstrued as a sign of weakness. They misinterpreted your steadfast, concentrated presence for passivity, unaware that this tragic misreading would be their biggest and ultimate error. Your centering was not a symptom of detachment. Rather, it was the force field that kept you untouchable. Now, as your complete and total vindication plays out in the public eye, the impact extends far beyond your personal story. It's not just about you anymore. Thousands, if not millions, of people will see similar, painful patterns in their own lives as your case serves as a potent catalyst for a widespread awakening. Millions more will begin to doubt the institutions and processes they formerly relied on without hesitation. As the terrible facts revealed on your trip spark a worldwide collective awakening, the carefully built illusions that have kept mankind captive for ages will crumble. The media coverage alone will demolish their narrative, while the overwhelming, irrefutable data revealed will ignite a fire of awareness inside the global mind. Those who have suffered in silence for years, the targeted, the doubted, the discarded, and the gaslit, will finally find validation and confirmation for their own experiences, giving them the strength to stand up and reclaim their own power. This is the underlying, cosmic reason why so many great forces were assembled to subdue you. This is why massive, almost unfathomable resources were spent to limiting your power. They understood, on an intuitive, soul-deep level, that you were never simply one person seeking justice. Your energy, presence, and unshakable unwillingness to succumb to their darkness made you an effective catalyst for a worldwide paradigm change. You become a beacon, a lighthouse amid the storm, heralding the start of a massive awakening that they are helpless to prevent. Your courageous and valiant battle against corruption, deception, and manipulation is about more than simply your own restoration. It is about opening a massive, bright door for many people to walk through, out of the darkness and into the light. Your bravery has sent a strong shockwave across the collective energy field, unlocking dormant networks of awareness and inspiring communities to connect the dots and communicate truths that were previously spoken in secret. Information that was formerly mercilessly repressed is now freely and publicly shared. New support systems are growing naturally, and more people than ever before are claiming their sovereign authority, all as a result of the tremendous, resonant frequency your journey has sent into the globe. Everything taken from you will be returned. Everything that was before barred will now come to you in a torrent of riches. Every delay you were forced to bear will be turned into rapid quantum progress. The healing that is coming to you is greater than you could have imagined, while the material and financial riches that are properly yours will radically and gloriously alter your physical reality. The genuine transformation is much deeper and more profound. Your energy, which has been stolen and assaulted, will be completely restored and cleaned. Your life's mission will be revealed with crystal clarity that you have never known, and your way ahead will be miraculously cleansed of all past obstructions. The confines and limitations they tried so hard to impose on you will just evaporate, and your tremendous potential, previously denied and strangled, will be liberated for all the world to see and wonder. This triumph does more than simply finish a painful chapter. It serves as a tremendous launchpad, propelling you into the next wonderful phase of your destiny with irresistible, divine velocity that cannot be denied or rejected. Every attempt made to keep you back, every sinister plan devised to prevent your emergence, has ironically created the same foundation that now propels you to unparalleled heights. The massive resistance they instilled was never a goal in itself. It was the heavenly pressure required to propel you into an altogether new realm of purpose, power, and possibilities. The same hands that attempted to hold you back have unintentionally laid the groundwork for your spectacular ascent, changing every barrier into a stepping stone and all of their opponents into the strong wind under your wings. Your tale, previously a lonely fight for justice and acknowledgement, will now be used as a holy book, a living manual for all those souls who are facing similar challenges in their own lives. Your strong story, formed in the purifying furnace of hardship, will serve as a beacon of light for countless souls who are still looking for their own path out of darkness. The complex details of your journey will reveal secret routes for others, allowing them to understand the devious, hidden patterns that have kept them captive and teaching them, step by step, how to recover their own sovereign authority. Your victory is more than just personal validation. It is living, breathing proof of what so many people have suspected in their hearts but never seen confirmed in the physical world. That systems designed to suppress and limit human potential can not only be challenged, but completely transformed, transcended, and ultimately reimagined as forces for the greater good of all. Those who collaborated against you never expected this result. They put all of their energy and resources into creating a complex, dark web of resistance, never realizing that their efforts would only enhance the exact light they were attempting to dull. In their stupid efforts to quiet your voice, they actually made it resonate louder, clearer, and further than ever before. In their attempt to extinguish your light, they just increased its intensity, brightness, and worldwide visibility. None of your difficulties were ever intended. None of your obstacles were just coincidental. Your route has always been really important. Each challenge you encountered, each assault you overcame, was a cosmic testimonial to the significance of your larger mission. The sheer magnitude of the resistance you encountered is a cosmic signal of the significance of your existence on this planet in this lifetime. After all, the system will not use all of its massive resources to neutralize a single person unless that someone has the ability to cause seismic, world-altering upheaval. Whole departments are not privately committed to chasing down and neutralizing a single individual unless that person possesses the keys to unleash a new world. The sheer scope and complexity of their battle against you, financial, legal, energetic, and spiritual, emphasizes the critical position you play in the current communal awakening. Dear Father in heaven, I come before you to pray for the exponential increase of my faith and the faith of everyone listening via God Connection. Help us all to fully trust you, even when tangible proof of your work is not yet evident. Let us believe in your everlasting, loving presence, knowing with all our hearts that you will never abandon or hurt us. We embrace and understand the reality of your word, that your thoughts for us are of prosperity, peace, and wholeness, not of harm, in order to provide us with a hopeful future. Thank you, kind and everlasting Father, for always hearing our voices. I pray to you in the holy and mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your unconditional love and divine provision. I am forever thankful for your presence in my life and the tidal wave of abundance you are creating. If this video resonated deeply inside your soul, please show your support by clicking the like button. Most essential, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a word of divine truth. Share this video with anybody who you believe needs to hear this uplifting message. Please leave a comment below on your own faith journey and how you're getting ready for your victorious return to power. Your sponsorship enables us to continue this essential job. If you feel moved to help, please use the Super Thanks button below to make a gift. A $10 donation, or whatever amount you can spare, allows us to constantly enhance our material and communicate God's message of hope and liberty to a world in dire need. No present is too tiny. Your gift, whether in the form of a penny, a prayer, or a share, is much welcomed and contributes to the spread of light. Do not stop here. The trip continues. Watch our next video for amazing insights into the indications that indicate you are one of God's chosen ones. We have been really fortunate to share this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for sticking with us to the end. Keep blazing your brilliant light brightly and facing your heavenly destiny with unshakable bravery. We'll see you next time. God Connection sends blessings to all lovely people.